Salam Media, your spiritual companion this Ramadan.
Talk show here live on Salam Media, and we're moving on to the most exciting part of the show. We will be talking today with Brother Robert Martin. He is an Australian pro-Palestinian activist, and I don't know if any of you have ever seen him. Or he's very active on social media, and if you're following any of the our pro-Palestinian accounts, you'll invariably come across Brother Robert Martin. But today, it's part of our segment called Ramadan Around the World, when we go around, when we're talking to different people. So thank you so much. It's an absolute pleasure to be talking to Brother Robert. He is staying awake for us because in Australia, it's quite late. So Jazakallah for that. I appreciate that. I know Ramadan is always taxing, especially towards the end of the day, end of the month, when we're all feeling pretty excited. But before I introduce you to him, or I welcome him onto the show, I'm just going to talk a little bit about Brother Robert. It's a very long bio, so I'm not going to be able to get through all of it because it's going to be more interesting and to hear from the man himself. But I'll get to some of it. So here it is. Robert Martin is a prominent Australian journalist and pro-Palestinian activist based in Melbourne. He's widely known for his on-the-ground reporting in the Palestinian territories and his recent public reversion to Islam. He traveled first to Palestine in 2014, so that's more than 10 years ago, to seek first-hand information following the conflict in Gaza. He returned in 2018 and subsequently to that to continue documenting life under occupation. And very, very excitingly, last year he was a participant in the Gaza Freedom Flotilla aboard the vessel Handala. So we're going to hear more about that a little later today. And last year in December, Martin officially announced his reversion to Islam. Just to give you a little bit of background, because that's not something that just happened overnight. He was actually raised in a non-religious household. He would formally identify as either an atheist or agnostic, and his decision followed 11 years of reflection and studying the Quran. Alhamdulillah, what a beautiful way to enter the faith. You know, I often say reverts to Islam are more conscious about it. We, the rest of us who are born into Islam, we almost didn't have a choice. I mean, alhamdulillah, most of us love the religion and learn about it. But the reverts, actually, it's their specific choice. And what a beautiful way to enter the religion. So Robert credits the unwavering faith and kindness of the Palestinian people he encountered during his travels as the primary catalyst for his spiritual journey. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to Salam Media and the Mid-Morning Talk Show. It's a pleasure to have you, Robert.
You are very, very kind. I'm humbled and honored to be with you again today. How are you?
I'm very well, alhamdulillah. It's an absolute joy to talk to you. I mean, I was doing my little research on you, and the more I learned about you, the more I was like in awe of you. So, yeah, forgive me if I've got a little bit of nervousness talking to you today. You know, I'm so thrilled to see that you're wearing your keffiyeh scarf, as I am as well. It's something that I try and do whenever I can. I'm always wearing either a little pin or a little bracelet that has Palestinian colors. Sometimes I have a little watermelon pin or something. And I think it's so important to be manifesting our support for this cause. So
I too have I have a few little extra bits there that says from the river to the
wow.
sea. Palestine will be free. So, and then I have my watermelon and my different things. So when I'm not wearing a shirt or a keffiyeh, I've got it on my arms. So we're very passionate here.
I can tell. Alhamdulillah, that's great. Okay, so just to take a step back, because I want to talk a little bit about your reversion to Islam. Is this your first Ramadan as someone observing Ramadan outside of a Muslim majority country? I mean, we're very blessed in South Africa, although we're not a majority Muslim country. Islam, we are allowed to practice our faith very, very freely. We have freedom of religion. And because it's been established, it's been a long established religion. I mean, the first Muslims were in Cape Town many, many years ago. And then Muslims also, came into South Africa from India in many years ago, and Pakistan. So we have got a long history and many, many mosques and a long culture of Islam. But as someone observing Ramadan outside of a Muslim majority country, how has your experience of the holy month been so far this year?
It's been absolutely beautiful. I have been to so many iftars. I was in Doha for a small amount of it. I've been traveling a lot. So I've been also in New Zealand, just got back from New Zealand. And so the iftars, the events, the love that people have shown me has been incredible. Has taken a lot to get used to because, as you said, I'm only a new Muslim, but there has been so much love for me. And it's been humbling, very humbling. But yeah, we can in Australia we can celebrate our religions, no problem at all.
Mhm.
And so I've
That's
been to many,
fantastic.
many different mosques and prayed with many, many different people in their homes as well. So, which has been,
Fantastic.
just lovely.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I mean, I always find that Ramadan is a special time for me personally, because I always say I'm not a great Muslim, I try, but I always feel like I fall off the rails sometimes. So Ramadan is a good reminder, and it's a good way to refocus and center again and get back onto what we hope is the right way of
Mm.
practicing our religion, our deen. So yeah, and because it's a way of life, and because Ramadan is like the whole day and the whole night, everything is focused around the spiritual side of things. It gives me that opportunity to really internalize everything about Islam that I know, or some parts of it that I know, and focus on that, and really try and hone my skills. And normally I get a bit of a refresher. I feel like quite revived
Yeah.
after Ramadan. So yeah, it's a beautiful thing, and it's also a lot of family time and community time. So I think that's also important for us, because a big part of Islam is about brotherhood and unity. So I think in Ramadan we get a chance to experience that and practice that even more. So Alhamdulillah.
The reconnecting.
Okay, absolutely. We can connect across many different aspects. So Alhamdulillah, that's great. So I just want to check with you. I don't know how long you've been fasting, or how many Ramadans you've had, but what are some of the unique challenges that you've experienced during fasting and in Ramadan? And what are the rewards? So, the challenges and the rewards of fasting and practicing Ramadan for you as an individual, and specifically maybe in your part of the world in Australia.
So for me, it's my first. It is my first because I actually converted or reverted on the 17th of January. So it was actually
Hmm.
this year.
Yeah.
Officially, I did it. And I take a lot of different medications. And so I have to have my Ramadan is slightly different. So I
Mm-hmm.
do as long as I can. I occasionally have to have water for my medication and medical purposes. But the Quran being so flexible, it allows me to
Hmm.
do other things, whether that
Hmm.
be feed children, feed families meals that I can't
Yes.
actually, and those sorts of things, and which has
Hmm.
been great. I've donated clothes. I've donated meals. I've done all of these great things that have made me feel really internally grateful. I
Hmm.
wish that I wish I could actually fast as much as everybody else. There have been a
Hmm.
few days where I have, but it's been very, very difficult because of my
I'm
medication.
sure.
I tend not to
Yeah,
eat, so I go through for most of the day without eating, but it's just a little bit of water that I have to have every so
that you
often.
need. Yeah. So I mean,
Yeah,
I
but to
understand
watch
that.
to watch other people fast, and because I'm
Yes.
spending a lot of time with Muslims, it's a beautiful thing. And to see them on the first few days, they go, "Oh, Rob, I'm finding this is very easy this year. This is the easiest one I've had for so long." And then I saw them on the fourth and the fifth to the sixth day, and then they were starting to go, "Oh my goodness, Rob, I don't know what I'm going to do. It's just so hard." And then they'd reinvigorate again at the 10th, 11th, and 12th. And then we've got
Mm,
Eid
mm.
coming up this Friday, so people that can see the end. And so it's been a
Alhamdulillah.
beautiful up and down of the motivation of different Muslims where they're at, and
Yes.
reconnecting with their family. They've got a whole lot of more more energy to be able to
Mm-hmm.
complete Ramadan.
Yeah. So I know that it can be challenging, if you have specific health conditions. I have two people in my own immediate family who are diabetic, and one cannot
Yeah,
fast at all, and one fasts most of the time. And sometimes when he experiences a high or a low, sometimes he just can't, then he has to break his fast. But Alhamdulillah, for something like fidya, you're talking about feeding people, and that's what Allah allows us. We are allowed to not fast because
yeah.
if it's going to be dangerous or injurious to our health, we can give the equivalent of two meals to a fasting person and receive the same reward of fasting. So Alhamdulillah, how beautiful is that? So yeah,
These
I'm
are the
glad.
things that brought me to Islam. The
Mhm,
flexibility. Everyone thinks it's like a mechanical book that's not
mhm.
changeable, but it is. It's changeable for each individual human, and it's a beautiful thing for those for it to work like that. And it was one of the
Mhm.
reasons that brought me to Islam.
Fantastic. And so tell me, have there been any standout moments or traditions this Ramadan have been particularly meaningful to you? I know you've already spoken about connecting with other people, but has anything really just been like a highlight for you that you can mention?
Praying with Omar Solimon in Doha,
Wow. Wow, wow,
out
wow. Yeah.
out in public.
Mm-hmm.
That was very moving. Um, I've had the fast track. I was in New Zealand with one of our major sheikhs or imams for Australia. I was with him in New
Mm-hmm.
Zealand for 5 days and we were staying in the same house. And
Mm-hmm.
so to be able to pray with him 5 times a day in a mosque or at home in the mornings was magnificent and beautiful as well. So I had the crash courses of the religion, which was
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. Traveling on the plane, being shown how you can pray on the plane, or again, if
Yes.
it's flexible, if you can't, you can make it up later on. So all of
Yes.
these things I'm trying to learn,
Mm-hmm.
but the standout is the kids that are
Wow.
fasting, the young kids that are
Mm-hmm.
fasting, with their families, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're not baby kids, but they're young
Mm-hmm.
kids, and they're fasting and they're doing really, really well. And to watch them pray with their
Yeah.
parents, I think, is a beautiful thing. Being in a mosque and hearing the children in the background playing and saying, "Look what they're doing
Yes.
now, they're doing
Yes.
this," I think is a beautiful thing as well. I have a lot of people come up to me because I'm white and
Mm-hmm.
I'm known for the public
Mm-hmm.
Palestine advocacy, and they always want to come up and have a picture and a hug, and that moves me every single time, and so
Amazing.
it's a
Yeah.
another beautiful thing.
So I think what you're saying is so important. Saying you had the chance of the opportunity of staying with a sheikh for 5 days and then praying with Omar Suleiman. Because for me, Islam is a very practical religion. And you
It,
learn best through example and by doing something and by doing it with these learned people. Alhamdulillah, you've learned so much. And I think Umar Suleiman, personally, I find him quite inspirational. And also
yes,
being Palestinian, I mean, I'm sure you found a lot of common ground with him.
yes,
But I like what you said also about the kids, because when my I have two boys, alhamdulillah, and when they were very young, we got into the practice with them quite early, and I was very fortunate at that point. Both my mom and my mom-in-law and father-in-law were actually living with us, so it was three generations, and they were quite young when they'd wake up with us for suhoor and be excited about fasting, and eat the suhoor and pray the prayer, and then we would allow them, because they were about 3 or 4 at the time, we would allow them to break their fast early, if they couldn't
yeah,
manage it. My older boy would manage till about 12 or 1, but again, okay, now read your prayer, and to eat with the date and have water, and that thing. My younger son would many mornings wake up after suhoor, if he'd go back to sleep, wake up after suhoor and be hungry already at it's 8 o'clock in the morning, and that was fine too. There was no issue.
yeah,
He'd
yeah,
make his he'd make it read his prayer to break the fast and break it, and then he then carry on for as long as possible. But whatever it was, in whatever way, I mean, I think it's such a beautiful family connection to be able
yes,
to spend together this time, and it really is something that yeah, when you spoke about the kids specifically, it made me realize, I saw a clip recently. I think it was some Turkish mosque where the imam is playing with the kids. I mean, he's actually having like races with them and all of that. And I think that's so beautiful to encourage the children to come to the mosque and to pray in community, and to learn things from each other. And yeah, it's always refreshing. I think our children bring us back to home so quickly. They ground us, and alhamdulillah, I'm
You
glad
want them
that
to be
that
child friendly.
experience.
'Cause I know
Sorry.
a lot of I know a lot
Yes.
of Christian churches. When I was brought up, you weren't allowed to
Yes.
speak. It had to be very,
uh,
very quiet. You didn't, it
yeah.
was just for prayers, and there was no laughing
Yes.
and there was no clapping. Whereas
Yeah.
all of the mosques I've been to, they're child friendly. And it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't matter what the kids are doing. It's okay, because when you're praying, you're with Allah. That's all. You don't hear the children. You do what you need to do. The kids can do what
Mm-hmm.
they can do, and it works beautifully. And the other thing
Fantastic.
I did want to say was when I was with the sheikh,
Mm-hmm.
and he would say, "Robert, you need to drink," and I'd say, "No, I want to go for another hour." And he'd say, "It's
Mm.
a flexible religion, Rob. Why wouldn't you
Yes.
use the flexibility? It's there for these reasons." And
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was great. Rather than trying to push me to last longer, he would say,
Mm-hmm.
No. This is how it is meant in the Quran.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's a beautiful thing too.
Okay, thank you for that, Robert. Okay, so before we end, I would just like to ask, what message would you like to share with Muslims around the world specifically about unity, the shared spirit of Ramadan, and maybe if there's anything you can say to our Palestinian brothers and sisters, what would you say to them?
Well, first of all, for my Muslim brothers and sisters, it's funny. I know that a lot of them take Islam for granted because you've
Mm,
been raised in it. And I've spoken about this at many talks, and I've asked people to pop their hand up, first of all, if they're Muslim, and then if they take their religion for granted. And every time, 95% of the hands go up. And so during Ramadan, it's a great time. You're supposed to read the Quran. You can rejoin it. You can re-energize yourself with it, relearn it, because I think a lot of
mm,
people forget a lot of the meanings. I'm lucky because I'm new to it. I have weekly meetings, one-on-one
mhm.
class to learn it, and I have been very excited about that. And so if they can re-engage with their religion, it would be a great thing. And to the Palestinian brothers and sisters, the world is very slow. The world will catch up. You will be free at some stage. And I thank you for helping me become a Muslim, because it was you guys that actually opened my eyes to it in the end and pushed me. It was that little push that I needed. When you see these poor Palestinians within the occupied West Bank and Gaza praying against the rubble, lost family members, lost homes, lost everything, but they still have the faith to pray for their God, for God, and for knowing that this is a test. This is a test, and the test, one day, Judgment Day is coming, and they know what they need to do. And I think that's
Inshallah.
another reason that keeps them going. If Palestine was atheist, there would be no Palestine. Palestine would be gone. And this is
Wow.
why Islam is such a powerful and beautiful religion.
I think that's an amazing thing that you say, and I can echo what you're saying, because I had the privilege of going to visiting Al Aqsa last year in November. Of course, we couldn't
Mm.
visit Gaza, so I didn't see all of that you've experienced. But I can just tell you, I mean, we were in the old city, so the majority of the people there are Muslim and Palestinian. I can tell you, apart from the spiritual experience of going to the Masjid al Aqsa and to be there, for me, the highlight of the trip was engaging with these beautiful souls, the Palestinians. I mean, they're the most generous, kind hearted, forgiving, and giving people that I've ever met. I mean, considering all that they've been through. I mean, even just normal day to day, it's worse
Yeah.
than it's probably worse than apartheid was in South Africa when it was in
Much,
its heyday,
much. Yeah.
so just what they go through. I mean, the very first day when we arrived, and it was my first trip there, alhamdulillah, it was my first trip, and inshallah, I hope to go back and back. And I make dua, I make sincere dua that, Masjid al Aqsa is reopened and our worshippers are allowed back in. But yeah, even the very first day when I got there, and we were just talking to the hotelier, because we went in a group, and then, they were allocating rooms and stuff. And he was just saying, he was just telling us just how difficult it is for them every step of the way. Any little thing, like he says, even if I want to make a little renovation in this hotel, and it's a very basic standard kind of a hotel, nothing
Mm.
fancy or nothing. He says, even if I just want to add an extra bathroom, I have to go through so many permits, I have to get so many permissions, and I have to pay so much, and you just realize that life is so difficult and so challenging, yet they are the most resilient and most accepting, beautiful people. So
Correct.
it just makes sense to me that your engagement and interaction with them led you to follow your path. So Alhamdulillah for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
indeed.
Thank you so much. That's all we have
Thank
time
you
for
very
today,
much for
Robert.
having me.
It's an absolute pleasure, and thank you once again. I know it's probably close to midnight there at your time, and you're probably going to be waking up for sahur pretty soon.
Yeah.
I wish you well for the rest of the fast, and salams, and convey our best wishes to all our Australian brothers and sisters. And I hope you have a joyous and fulfilling Eid. It's going to be your first Eid, and I'm sure it's going to be
Yes, on
a
Friday.
wonderful one. Inshallah
Yeah.
ta'ala. Eid Mubarak and
Okay.
wassalam to you.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so
Assalamu
much.
alaikum.
That was
Okay.
Robert Martin, all the way from Melbourne in Australia. And we're going to take a short ad break now. Thank you.